Hey everyone, my name is Melody Perez, soon to be Guzman. I am engaged, I'm 22, and I am getting married. So, this whole channel, at least the reason why I'm starting it, is to be able to look back on memories, especially during this crazy hectic time of planning a wedding during a pandemic and just all the things that I've been having to deal with. I kind of want to just tag you guys along, and maybe someone can see this and get some tips, pointers, whatever it is. But that's kind of like the main reason why I want to start this channel, is just so I can look back and see what it was like, you know, planning a wedding and just going through all of these things. So I asked on Instagram if people had any questions for me regarding a wedding, regarding my marriage that's going to happen. Like, am I worried or concerned about anything, or just kind of anything. Ask them if they want to ask me any questions. I got some questions back, and I'm now here to answer them. So I just want to kind of give you guys the tiniest little backstory about me and my fiance. Me and my fiance have known each other since we were 5 years old. We have been best friends for a very, very long time that developed into what we are now, which is, you know, fiancés, and now soon to be husband and wife. Me and my fiance have been engaged about almost 2 years because I left to Australia when we first got engaged to go to school, and we planned for a wedding once I came back, but I came back sooner than I expected, and then we were still, you know, trying to save up for a wedding, so we decided to keep it at the 2-year mark of being engaged. We would get married, and so we planned this whole wedding out for almost 2 years. We were planning a wedding. It was about 1.5 years that we were planning a wedding, and it was going to be about like 160 people, and it was going to be in this other area that was going to be very, like, you know, gorgeous or whatever. And then boom, COVID hit. So that was annoying because I had to very fast, like, scratch off my ideas of what I thought my wedding was going to look like and all the things I had planned for, and now plan a whole brand new wedding from scratch. And so that was really hectic. That was absolutely crazy. And so we're actually doing that. Since the first venue told us that we couldn't have our wedding there because they would only accept about 10 people for a reception, and our immediate family is about 15 people, so that was like totally not doable. We decided that we were going to move it to my cousin's backyard, and it's under regulation, so we could only have about 50 people, which was drastic change from 160 people to about 50 people. But we've been planning this whole wedding out, and I'm very excited. I only have about 22 days left until I get married, and there's still a lot of things to get done, little projects to do, and yeah. So that's kind of just a little backstory on moi. And now I'm just gonna answer your guys' questions that I got via Instagram. The first question that I got is, what did the beginning stages of planning look like? So for me, I wasn't really sure. Even though I have older sisters that got married, I still was like, what do I do? So I had asked them, and they were just kind of letting me know, like, it's like the venue and like how many people you're gonna have and stuff like that. So a good starting point is to make sure, how many people do you want at your wedding, because that's going to help you pick a venue that's going to fit the amount of people that you want. And depending on whether it's small or big, maybe you would want it inside if it's smaller, but if it was big and you're claustrophobic or something, then maybe you want it outside. Whatever it is, I would definitely say finding the amount of people that you want to attend your wedding is going to be like the first things you do. And the second thing is picking a venue, because then you can go off that kind of like the vibe that you want. Let's say it's a beach wedding, you're going to want more of a beachy dress. If you're going to want a forest wedding, you're going to want more maybe a bohemian kind of dress, or whatever it is. And then you can kind of go off of that for every other idea. The men's attire, the groom's attire, if he wants to wear boots for wherever you are at, or if it's just gonna be like no shoes or something. So again, I think the second thing would be venue. And then third, I have no idea. I looked up on Pinterest timelines that they gave you, and it gives you like what to do when you're 12 months away from the wedding, 11 months away from the wedding, 9, 6, 3, then a couple weeks before the wedding, and then the day of. And so I would definitely recommend going on Pinterest, watching YouTube videos about kind of like, what do I need to do in the beginning. There's this lady on YouTube her name is Jamie Wolf, I believe, and I watch a lot of her videos just because she is a wedding designer and a wedding coordinator, and she has a lot of tips and things. So I watched a lot of her videos, but I definitely would think those two things that I mentioned prior are the first things that you should be doing when planning a wedding. The next question I got was, what went into your venue search? So I have a beautiful, amazing sister, Mercy. If you guys know her, she's very creative and she's done wedding coordinating and planning before. I let her know that I wanted a outdoor wedding for the most part, and I wanted it like with trees around, and kind of just gave her like an idea, and she found a couple venues in like a week. And we went to go visit, and the first venue that we went to, I loved. I loved it because of the atmosphere. It was a Christian place, and it was just very beautiful. It wasn't like a chapel or anything, it was outdoors, but it's a retreat center. So I just liked the vibe that I got from the place. I liked that it was people that were also in the same like mindset as me in regards to marriage, were like, you know, helping us with the wedding and everything. So the first venue that I looked at, I liked, and so did Kevin, and so did our parents. So we decided to, the next day, sign the contract and then submit it. So I would just suggest that if you are trying to find a venue and you're not sure what, think about like what you've, you know, liked on Pinterest of other people's weddings, kind of that vibe that you would want, and then think about the weather that it's going to be, and then think about if it's going to be more than enough space for your guests. And you know, if there's place for you to get ready at, if you want to get ready there, if they have how many hours do they give you for the day, do they let you decorate beforehand, do they allow drinking if you're gonna want drinking at your wedding, do they allow any type of music. There's some places that are strict, so do they allow any type of music for your wedding? Just look into all of those little details, write them down before you go to a venue, and then make sure you get those answers before you sign a contract. If you're there, don't just rush into it because you're already super excited and have all these emotions. I would just wait like a day or maybe even a week if you want to sign the papers, and look at other places if you want. I honestly think I should have looked at other places just to see if there's any place that was better, or that had maybe during this whole pandemic would have had different guidelines. Who knows? I know it wasn't my venue's fault. It was the, you know, COVID, but I'm just saying like people did have different guidelines and things, so it depends. So I definitely do think, I recommend that you would visit multiple venues before you set your mind on it. So and then since my venue changed though, I just picked what was available to me, which was a big piece of land that my cousin has behind her house. So I was like, that's the next option. And so my sister Mercy, as soon as that she found out that we could possibly do it at this backyard, she was just like, we can definitely do it. And she just started coming up with designs and everything, and she helped me envision what this wedding would be like in a backyard that was kind of drastically different from my first venue. So that's kind of what I had to do because of this pandemic. But you gotta do what you gotta do, as long as you and your fiance or your husband, future husband, are happy. Do you, boo boo. Okay, so the next thing was, how did COVID change your wedding theme or plans? So again, it changed it in the sense that it wasn't going to be in the same place, but my theme stayed the exact same, even though I don't know, yeah, it stayed the exact same. It's the same colors. I always wanted it very simplistic in the sense that I only want baby's breath at my wedding, and I want very classic, a very classic vibe, which in the sense is just practically all white. And so that is very doable, and maybe a little bit more rustic themes came in because the backyard is mostly like that dry grass kind of vibe. So more of like a rustic vibe came into my wedding. But honestly, in regards to theme, it didn't change a lot. COVID changed a lot in the sense of who could come to my wedding. Maybe you wanted already a small wedding and COVID did nothing because you were already gonna have a small wedding, then, you know, then nothing would have changed. But for me, I had a big wedding planned out, and now it just had to get smaller. So that's it. And then the next thing is, what's a good number to shoot for when saving for a wedding? I would, you know, again, look back at how many people you're gonna have, because it genuinely, it adds up. You usually pay per person when you're doing catering, but it just depends. Maybe you just want burgers and then it'll be a lot cheaper. It just depends what kind of meals you want. That goes into it. It depends on what kind of flowers are your favorite and you want everywhere. That goes a lot into it. Flowers are expensive, or they can be expensive. I would put into your venue how dramatic you want it. Like, let's say you want a huge cathedral and they charge a lot of money for that venue or whatever, then, you know, it depends on that stuff. For me, I wanted to definitely save money because I want to be able to have money after for my marriage and for my home and for my future. I didn't want to just spend every single dime. I didn't want to go into debt for my wedding. Yeah, no, I wanted to definitely save. So for me and Kevin, for the initial wedding that we had in mind, we were planning to spend around $10,000. And then when our wedding changed and got smaller, we were able to save a lot more, and our budget became to about $6,000, which I think is pretty doable. We definitely saved a lot of money. We tried to eat in a lot before the wedding, beforehand, so we didn't have to spend a lot, and we tried to cut our budget. And then honestly, COVID kind of restricted us from spending. Like, we would have been going to the movies more often or going to date nights, but you had to stay home, so it wasn't like we were spending and going out and things like that. We were, for the most part, home all the time. So we got to save even more money, and yeah, we are able to now, you know, even more afford this wedding and be able to save the money that we weren't gonna, or were gonna spend for our future, for a new home possibly, or for an apartment one day, or whatever it is. So yeah, for me, a great budget was $10,000, but for you, it could be like $20,000 easily. So it just depends on your vibe, what you want, how simplistic you want to go, and honestly, what's doable. How much money do you guys make? How much do you honestly think you guys can save in a year? And is anybody gonna help you? And are you gonna do DIY projects? And then literally write all the things down, guesstimate. I would go above what you think might be the price, do a little budgeting chart, and then see what your budget is. So that's my little tip for you guys. The next question is, how did you and your fiance meet? The way we met was at church. I was about 5 years old. Yeah, we were 5 years old when we met. Me and my fiance are only 11 days apart. And so we met in church. His parents came to my parents' church. My parents were are the pastors of the church. My dad's still a pastor. And they came to church and we became friends because I was already friends with his cousin. And then we just all kind of hung out more and more. And then we became best friends, and then a lot of stuff happened, and then we dated, and then we got engaged. If you guys want an in-depth story, which is insane, I think our love story is a very let's say maybe movie-like love story, just because it's a lot and it's long. But if you guys really want to hear our love story and kind of how we ended up together, because I honestly think it's a miracle from God. I thank Jesus that I'm now gonna get married to him. But if you guys really want a story time for that, just let me know in the comments, and I will definitely create a video, maybe with him. Let me know if you guys want it with him, or just my side, and then he can tell his side, and then I don't know, whatever you guys want. But just let me know in the comments. The next question is, how are you choosing who's attending the wedding? This is actually like a really good question, just because you would think you're just like, oh, people that are close to you, that's it. But you have to take in regards that your parents have opinions, and your in-laws have opinions, and they are going to want people there that you honestly didn't think to have. And some people are like, no, that's my wedding or whatever, but in my head, I honestly think that I'm a person that wants to please people. I want my family to have a good time, and I want them to be surrounded by people that they're gonna have a good time with. I don't want them thinking like, man, I wish this person was here or anything like that. I would want them to see them in their, you know, happiest environment on our wedding day, dancing and being with their brothers and sisters and being with a friend from church or whatever it is. That was for our 160 guest list. We were able to fit all of our family, fit friends from church, a small group of friends from church, and then some friends of our parents, to make sure that, you know, we had a well-rounded wedding. But then COVID, so that was a little bit more difficult. We had to see what was doable for people, because COVID restrictions have affected people's jobs. They can't just leave the state, and most of my family lives in other states, and you know, things like that. And even people's budget there to be able to go on this trip for the wedding, because the wedding did get moved to a further location, about 6 hours further than where we live. People had to see if they could even do the trip, and so because of COVID, people's budgets changed, and you know, because their jobs got affected. So we had to see what was doable. So what we did at first was people that we felt like needed to be at the wedding, and it literally was just family members that we could invite to the wedding, like just pure family members, no friends. And it sucked, but you know, we had to do what we had to do. I think family comes first in this instant for us. It wasn't like I had a best friend that is here that's even possible to come to the wedding. My two friends live in Australia. My two best friends live in Australia. So my I knew for sure they weren't going to be able to come. So the first people in my head were family members. But it might be a best friend for you that needs to be at your wedding, and then, you know, whatever it is. But honestly, for me, again, we wrote down a list of who we really needed there. Then we revised it, then called them and asked them if they were going to be able to even attend. The people that said they couldn't attend, then we bumped up other people that we wanted at the wedding. Of course, we wanted everybody at the wedding, but we wanted at the wedding and that could possibly attend. And we literally kept doing that until the amount of 50 people filled up, because that was the limit. And so yeah, it had to be a small wedding. So that's kind of how we had to do it. And it might be different for you guys, but do you, boo boo. It's your wedding, and at the end of it, you just don't want to regret it. Like, it's one of the biggest days of your life, because this is the person that you're gonna marry, and this is gonna be a memory that you guys are gonna look back on and tell your children. So if you're gonna truly regret something, don't do it. Just do you. And even if that hurts some people in the way, like if that bugs some people, just let them know it's your wedding, and they should be happy for you. If they, you know, like, I want the best for you guys, they should be happy with your guys' decisions. And so, you know, it's gonna look different for every person, but that's just my little 2 cents on it. The next thing was, are you getting nervous as the day comes? I think it hasn't hit me. I'm not nervous, well, I don't even know. I feel like I'm stressed. I'm really stressed. I get stressed because I am currently going to school, plus having to plan this wedding from scratch with my sister's help, and it's just been a lot. It's been a lot having to figure out new vendors, figure out who's gonna be the new DJ, photographer, videographer. Like, mind you, we had everything booked. It all had to get erased, so now we have to find new vendors, a new florist, new everything, and in a timely manner and in a budget-friendly manner. We weren't just gonna spend all the money that we had just for a tiny wedding. And so it's been a little stressful. Nervous. I get nervous in the fact that I know this is a huge deal, that I'm marrying somebody. Like, I'm marrying a person, and this is forever, and that's kind of crazy because it's a huge decision. But then I'm like, who in the world would I ever end up with? Like, he's literally my dream come true. There's, like, he's an answer to my prayers that I've asked God, and I just feel so lucky and blessed to be, like, in love with him, and to be able to have his love back, and to be able to have a wedding. I don't know. So I don't think I'm really that nervous. I'm nervous about, like, hopefully it looks nice, the wedding, and hopefully he likes the way I look. I think he will, but hopefully he does, and hopefully everything turns out as I want it to be turned out, how I want it turned out. But I don't know, maybe as I get closer I'll get like really nervous. I have no idea. But right now I feel like, today I feel okay. Today I feel pretty okay, but it changes honestly throughout the days. And then I have another question that says, this is the last question, and I kind of think it ties into it. It says, are you guys proud to get married at your age? So again, my age and my fiance's age is 22. I am very proud. I'm very proud. I know a lot of people think we're way too young, even though I'm like, what? Like, no. But a lot of people think we're way too young. When we went to LA, Cayones, to go get like his suit, went something for his suit and then things for like my in-laws dress. Multiple people have been like, why are you guys getting married so young? Like, you guys are just so young. Like, that's so crazy and whatever. And they make it seem like this big deal. For me, I was raised with people in my life, the role models that I had in my life got married very young for the most part. My mom got married at, I think 18 or 17, and 17 I think. And my mother-in-law got married when she was 18 years old, and most of our aunts got married at 18, 19 years old, even my cousins and my sisters. And I just always had that, like, if you get lucky enough to find the love of your life at the age that you did, and find a person that you want to spend the rest of your life with, like someone that's going to be your partner in the hard times and in the good times, why wait? Like, you know, unless it's like budget reasons, maybe you would wait because of budget reasons. But honestly, for me, I want to be married to him to kind of just start my journey like alongside him. And I honestly don't understand why it's a crazy thing. I feel like people think like, oh, you don't know who you are yet or whatever, but I do. Like, I'm a child of God. I have my identity in Christ, and so does my fiance. And so I feel like our foundations are very set in who we are, and we know that we trust the same principles and morals and like ethics that are all surrounded by this book, which is the Bible, these books, which is the Bible. And we just know that, like, if there's any arguments to arise, or if there's any discussions about like really difficult things, we feel like we have a place to find most of our answers. We feel like we have a place where we know how we should discuss to each other, how we should be treated. I feel like the Bible is very clear on that. And so I feel like it isn't like, oh, you're just a baby. Like, no, people don't know my story as a person, so I feel like for you to think that I'm a child just because of my age is kind of naive, because people go through a lot of different things that mature them differently. So I don't feel like I'm 22. I feel a little bit older just because of experiences that I've had in my life. And again, me and Kevin have known each other for a very long time. It's not like I just dated him for a couple months or maybe a year and then I married him, or I'm gonna marry him, even though I don't think that's wrong. But I've known him for a very long time. Our families know each other for a very long time, and we want to have sex. And that's another like answer. And I feel like people don't answer that truthfully sometimes. We are Christian. We are waiting for marriage. We both are going to this virgins, and we want to eventually, you know, have sex. And I don't want to be put in a place where I'm dating somebody for 9 years or 10 years and then we put in a place of temptation because you're always around them, and then, you know what I mean, like it's naive to think that you don't have temptations when you're dating. Like, you do. And I want to do it the right way. I think that you should wait till marriage. That's just my personal opinion, based on my beliefs, so don't come at me. And I don't want to wait to a crazy point. I think we're both ready spiritually, mentally, and we want to enter into this holy matrimony, and our families support us. And I'm just super proud to be, I wish I was younger, not gonna lie. I wish we got married younger sometimes, but I feel like everything happens for a reason, and I think I am the person that I need to be today to get married. I don't think if I did get married younger, I think I would have definitely messed up more, made more mistakes, but I'm happy that we're getting married when we are, because I think we're ready. Like, I really do think we're ready, and I think it's everyone's personal journey. And so I feel like if you're young and you feel like you can't get married because you're young, I don't know, like, you know, like, it's just kind of your own thing. But if you feel like you're mature enough, your family backs you up, your leaders back you up, your pastors back you up, then I don't understand why you would wait. Just do you, boo-boo. And we're doing us, so we're getting married in about 22 days. So yeah, like I said, that's just kind of on me. These are the questions that I got. And so if you guys have any other questions, I honestly love answering these things. I love being able to just chit chat with you guys and give advice if I can, or give my pointers or give my opinions on things. I'm just super excited for this journey that's ahead, and I definitely just want to be able to look back and see like what headspace I was in and everything, and just be able to help out anybody that has these questions or just wants to know what's going on in my life. So this is going to be the end of the video. I'm not sure if I'm missing anything, but if I am, please, if you guys have any other questions, like I said, just ask them in the comment section or DM me on Instagram. I would be so excited to answer them, and I definitely want to answer all your questions. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys want to subscribe to see more content, that would be so awesome. And just leave me a thumbs up if you can, and write something in the comments. So love you guys. Bye.